Absolutely. Well, I'm so thankful that you joined us today. This is awesome. And just having you on here to kind of let people know about this incredible resource tool that you've created online. I'm really excited to share that with everyone. So, hey guys, thank you so very much for joining in this week's episode of the Probate Nurse Podcast. We are your online resource for all things senior transitions. So whether you're downsizing, you're looking for assisted living, you're closing out an estate, you're going through probate, we have a vertically integrated referral network system that is here to help you with all the resources that you need. So today we have a wonderful guest. Not only is he my friend, but he is also the founder of an online resource called Executorium. So please welcome George Compton to the show. Hi, how
Uh,
are you?
Hello, everyone. How are you? Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. So you have just an incredible background, and I'm really excited to share this resource with our audience because it's something that you and I are familiar with. We've gone through certain things in our life, and it kind of led us to this. So I'd like to get into that, but I'd like people to know just a little bit about you first, like what your background is and what led you to starting executorium.com.
Okay. Well, I come from a large family. I'm the youngest of six, and much to my before the fact joy, I was named the executor, and then after the fact, to my chagrin, the executor. So those are two different
Mm-hmm.
experiences. You think it's a nice honor and it's cool, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a compliment, I suppose, from your parents that you can handle that.
Yeah.
After the fact, you realize, I don't know if I want this job. It's got so many complications, and
Yeah.
it's not something you do in your spare time. So it's very disruptive.
Mhm.
I didn't see anything that was particularly helpful. I didn't see a magazine, or such as it is, a website or an association. So
Mhm.
being from the 501(c)(3),
Mhm.
sector, I said, well, I think this needs something. I'm not sure what it is. So I started jotting down ideas on a yellow pad, and that has made its way into a website called executorium.com.
Which is just profound. It is so needed with all of us baby boomers aging out and our parents and we're inheriting money, inheriting homes, all these different things. But like what you just mentioned, it's dealing with the estate.
Mhm.
And, I lost three family members in succession. One of them had, everything set up, their estate planning was done, and one did not. So going through that situation with my brother's estate really led me to do the same thing that you did, writing it down, taking notes, and starting what I'm doing. So I commend you. It's a huge undertaking, and it's quite amazing. So congratulations on that. And I know we have a lot more going on with that too. You've got a lot to tell us a little bit later about where that site is going and what's happening. So basically, we know that there was a void in any kind of help and resources to help people close out an estate. So can you walk us through some of the main features of executorium.com and let people know certain maybe sections of that are really important for them to learn about?
Well, sure. Yes, thank you. I think it's important to highlight at the tip top that this is executor facing. It's executor
Okay.
point of view. It's from
Okay.
my experience as an executor. I don't think a probate attorney could have put this
Mm,
together, or,
mhm.
anyone that wasn't in these shoes and was just like sitting amidst the estate challenges saying, I've got so many things to do here. I don't even know where to start. I've got a pile of boxes. I've got photo albums. I've got my
Mm.
sister, message to return. I've got to call the attorney. I got to blah, da, 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 da. Overwhelming.
Oh,
So,
it's too much.
so with that in mind, and combined with, I was the executive director of a heavy construction association that
Mm.
disseminated information. So it was about geotechnical engineering and pile driving. So I took a little bit of that and I put it into the executor estate administration box and said executorium.com. So it's got you need help professionally. So it's got a county by county estate service providers
Mhm.
directory. It's got a county by county government pages directory, so you don't miss anything at the IRS level, the state level, or the county level. And then it has a section of original and guest articles from experts about
Mm,
really anything across, the estate,
sure.
paradigm, and the executor experience, from grief to fiduciary, from clean out to organization, and everything in between. And then we have a section called the Athenium, which sounds
Mm,
fancy, but
it
it's
does.
really, yeah, it is.
It is fancy.
It's fancy, but really it's just a place where we can say, you want to know about this.
Mm,
Here's a resource for Idaho. Here's a resource for Hawaii. And
mm.
nationally, here's something you want to know about the who gets grandma's yellow pie plate, which, as you're going through the executor experience, you miss so much. And I often say, wow, I'm done being an executor, but now I'm not new at it. I'd be pretty good at it now, and I am never gonna do it again.
Oh, once is enough, my friend. Once is
So, so, so yeah, so flattening the learning curve is kind of the point of all this, getting some
enough.
context and seeing the landscape, because it's a it's a thing you wander into and bump into things as you
Mhm.
trying to get from here to there, and
Sure.
let's make it a little bit easier with some knowledge and not having to struggle so much.
Yeah, and we call it a process because it really is from the initialization of the checklist, which people don't even know that that exists, from a checklist of, hey, what happens? What happens? What's the first step? What's the second step? I mean, this is such an incredible tool, and not only for people who are, going through this, but also for people like myself who are in this business. I can go on there and find people, maybe estate planning lawyers or people that can do the clean out, or an appraiser or a joint removal company. I mean, this is all inclusive. This is
Great.
wonderful.
Great. I didn't even
Yeah.
know what an appraiser really did.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
USPAP? I didn't know. I had no idea. I was just executive director of a heavy construction association. Now I'm
wow.
the new guy in this realm of estate administration. So these are all fundamental questions, and people start
Mm,
explaining it here, and you really need them to
mhm,
start explaining it here. So,
mhm.
um, that's what motivated me.
Yeah, and it's really cool too, is that being here in Florida, I know you're in Jersey, but being in Florida, we have clients that are all over. They could be national. The kids could be in Vegas or Detroit, where I'm from, and mom and dad are here, and someone's just passed away. So it's really nice to know that, everything is inclusive in there for them to get in there and see. And if they want to find somebody or just learn something, they don't know our rules down here. We know every state is different when it
Yes.
comes to closing out in a state. They're all different
Yeah.
rules, different game.
Those are the statutes that matter, the state
Yeah.
statutes on estates and trusts, and
Mm,
that's what governs all the different jurisdictions, which
mhm.
normally are by county or county equivalent or independent city or parish in Louisiana, or
Right?
in Alaska it's another category. So
It
uh
is.
it,
Yeah.
it it's just a very steep learning curve,
Hmm.
and it's a rotten, I don't want to say this
Oh,
because I don't want to freak people out, but it's you're grieving too. Most
sure.
executors just lost somebody, and it stinks, and it's kind of
Hmm.
solitary.
Hmm.
So, you
It
know,
is.
this is meant to at the tip top, just,
Mhm.
provide something to lean on.
Sure. And I love it too, because, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was really about the ease of use. So you've made it so that it's extremely easy for someone who is in that position, who is grieving or is really distressed. They can get on there and find what they need. Can you tell us a little bit about that, how that works?
Yeah, well, the the advice I got at the beginning was,
Mhm.
you got to have engagement, you got to have
Mhm.
subscribers, because you want to have them come in, and then you've kind of got track of them, and you're for various SEO, not even SEO, but just various engagement principles, want to capture their information, etc. And I'm thinking, no, that sounds like really good
Yeah.
logic from a business standpoint, but from an executor standpoint,
Mhm.
it has to be open access.
Mhm.
Executors have to be able to dive in and out,
Sure.
and if they leave, they don't even have a place to leave their name. It's just dive in, get what you
Right.
want, use us up, and move on. It's just got very simple, four simple sections. A fifth
Mhm.
section is like estates wanted. So
Okay.
you can find buyers of estate personal property. But that's
Okay.
fifth section. Um, so, as far as like, you mentioned grief. So there are articles about what does it look like to go into a grief support
Mm.
session. And we had the help of the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center, which is right down the road. You probably remember Karen Quinlan,
Yep, I sure
who
do.
who was a major case in the New Jersey Supreme Court, and they've endowed this bereavement center, and so these support
Mhm.
areas and facilities are in place. But you're an executor, your hair is just your head is just like,
Yeah,
scrambled with all these things that might not be on your radar. So let us put it on your radar. Let us put mediation on your radar. So it's
sure.
like everybody's arguing. Let's get a neutral in here, and maybe we can save some money, not go to court. Everybody can
Mhm.
preserve some relationships,
Mhm.
and the family dynamic has changed, whether you
Sure.
realize it or not. Maybe the person that kept the peace or, kept the balance is no longer there. Maybe
Mhm.
there's some resentment. Maybe there's a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I, I
Yep.
liken it to, you're in the back seat of the car, you're arguing over the toy with your brother or your sister,
Yep.
and mom and dad are not in the front seat anymore.
Yeah.
So, you're the adult, and here's some
We try
information
to
to help
be.
you.
We try to be, but during grief, and you hit it on the head, really, after the loss of somebody, the dynamic shift. People, you don't know how people are going to react, even your brother, your sister, aunt, uncle. People can come at you, they can completely be distraught, they can hide and isolate. So it's really great to see that there's, mediation, because that's what's really, really needed. Mediation is hugely needed.
I'd say.
When you're going
Yes.
through this type of situation, anything can happen. People fall off, people disappear, you're left on your own. I've dealt with families that, four or five sisters, four of them are on board. Hey, let's sell the house. And the fifth one is not leaving that house, taking the
Yeah,
money, taking the jewelry. So, we've seen it all. So mediation
sure.
is huge. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Really,
No,
really great.
I think it's really important, and I'm reaching out to the mediation
Mm,
community, the ADR community, to say,
yeah.
estate mediation needs a stronger presence, because you have divorce mediation, you have construction mediation, arbitration, all these things. You don't see much of a profile of
Mm,
estate mediation, family
mhm.
mediation, but like you say, it can be so helpful.
It really is. I really could be too. So I love on your website, you do offer a lot of various articles like we just discussed. Can you maybe give us an idea of what would be some of the greatest articles or best articles that people could read about? I know you mentioned grief. Are there articles on there about arbitration? Like, would people know where to start, or mediation,
Well,
like that?
yeah, yes. We have a guest blog from an attorney in San Diego. Her name is
Oh,
Anna
nice.
Sambold, and she's
Okay.
just excellent. I think she's actually the chair of uh, the ADR dispute resolution committee for the
Nice.
Bar Association. I'm not something
Mhm.
like that. Don't quote me,
You're right,
but
right.
she was just so wonderful to put down a primer of, what it looks like.
Mhm.
And I think that's really all that is needed to get somebody into this space and say, we're going down the estate litigation highway. Let's look for an off
Mhm.
ramp, and it's mediation. So in this article, Anna just kind of spells it out very simply. And then I do just a brief blog, kind of an
Mhm.
editorial piece, and in it I mention uh, mediation. It's a
Okay.
piece just about mediation, and in it I say, at some point you don't have to wait for the court. The heirs can say, you know what, this is not going good.
Mm.
Before we do some real damage here, and we have a lot less of an inheritance to split up because the lawyers are going to get it. Let's come to the table with a neutral and,
Mm.
work this out.
Resolution.
Yeah.
Resolution is key. Wealth preservation is key, and family ties are key. I mean, man, anything can happen, as we know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Another one of my favorite articles is from we do a podcast, Estate Talks, and we had a guest from PALS, which is Professionals of After Law Services. They do estate
Okay.
administration work,
Mm-hmm.
and Jasmine Hathaway,
Mm.
who talks about, the three things an executor needs to know: be
Okay.
organized,
Mm.
assemble a team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And
Sure.
these are the things that we can put on somebody's radar,
Mm.
even just by reading the headlines or looking at our estate bits clips, which are 1 minute just blips to just impart some information. So you're, you know, not so much the new guy all the time,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And I have heard of PALS. So that is great information right there. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that, although you give a lot of advice, it's not meant to be legal advice. You're just basically creating a path or a pathway for people to kind of follow where they can go in and get some information. So can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, thank you. We should and are obligated to avoid legal advice.
Sure.
You don't want legal advice from the Facebook group. As helpful as Facebook groups for executor support are, and people seek those out to get
Mhm.
just a little bit of feedback. You know, somebody giving advice from Wisconsin to somebody in Minnesota, they're two different animals. So the advice
Sure.
is not very useful and maybe misleading.
Mhm.
So we stay
Mhm.
away from legal advice, and
Okay.
when we get, for example, I was reading an article we wrote about, how to do a yard sale. Some estates do that instead of doing a tag sale. Some smaller estates want to go the DIY route. And, those are, the personal property that's out on the lawn is effectively an asset of the estate. So the proceeds are the asset of the state. They'd need to go into the estate checking account. But I'm
Mhm.
not an attorney, so I shouldn't say that. But it would seem like common sense, but such
Right.
as it is, I will put in the article, this is a discussion you want to have with your accountant or your state attorney. So we do that all throughout the site,
Mhm.
where it gets anywhere close to any type of legal or
Mhm.
fiduciary advice. You don't have to have an estate attorney, but you
Mm.
should have an estate attorney.
Good.
Let's put it that way.
Should, especially for those reasons, especially when there's
Yeah.
money involved, and giving legal advice. I do see a lot of people giving out legal advice online. And as you mentioned, state to state is different. People come to me and say, what should I do? I give them the phone number to a couple of my favorite estate planning and probate attorneys here. And I say, you need to call them. If you need financial advice, I've got, advisors here. If
Yeah.
you need an estate clean out and downsizing, we can help you with that. But people don't even really understand they need that checking account, they need that bank account. So yeah, stay away from legal advice and contact your lawyers and attorneys to help you with that. That is huge.
That's good
Um,
legal advice.
yeah, don't come to me because I can't give it, and as much as I want to, because we're constantly with our favorite estate planning attorneys, we go to all their networking events and we learn so much from spending time with them. I cannot legally tell my clients what to do. I would be, oh man, that's not good. I'd be in a
No,
bad place.
yeah. So, and the state attorneys can be found at our state service provider
Yes.
directory.
Yeah.
You can find the ones in your county,
Mhm.
and they're not vetted, so you have to, assess your
Okay.
own attorneys. Most estate attorneys do provide a consultation where you can sit down,
Mhm.
kind of throw it all out there. You can
Yes.
get some legal advice, and you
Mhm.
can do that with a couple of attorneys and see which one you think is going to fit
Yeah.
your personality, the needs of the estate, the needs of the
Mhm.
heirs,
Mhm.
and make a decision with
Yeah.
no skin in the game, and then you engage,
Right.
likely with a retainer,
Mhm.
uh depending on the terms. And
Yeah.
you know good estate attorney will have your
Yeah.
back as the executor,
Yeah.
and have the estate's back primarily because the
Yeah.
state is the client.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's really nice that you can have everyone come on and be a great resource. But again, we do have to do our own vetting. We do have to seek out people and learn their background. You can Google them, look at their reviews, and definitely call and get that free consultation. Most of them are willing to give, 15 to 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And, people's personalities are all different. I want someone who's very, very informative for myself and doesn't leave anything out. Other people don't want to know, they just want the document signed. So, it's really about you and your personal point of view and how you want to work with somebody. So that's really nice that you have multiple options for people, and not just at the county, but at the state level too. So that's great. I know here in Florida, if you're an estate planning attorney, you can cover the whole state. So I'm not sure if that's the same in every state, but it's, it's an option, right?
Yeah, I'm not even going to say, but it's a question for your
Don't
attorney.
go there.
We avoid the term estate planning attorney because the horse has left the barn, so it's like closing
Yeah,
the
they're
barn
gone.
door. And estate planning is very separate from
Yeah,
estate administration. I mean, they're obviously
absolutely.
linked, but there's not much planning left. So this
Hmm.
is post fact, and executorium is decisively geared towards the estate
Sure.
administration and settlement. Now, it would be a very good resource for estate planning people to look at executorium.com
Sure.
because it's a view of the after, not quite the after, but the after the fact,
Yeah.
and what you may be facing
Hmm.
and need to plan for. So,
Hmm.
in that sense, it is an estate planning resource.
It really is. It really is. And so much available. It's just incredible the amount of items you have on there, the resources. It's just growing and growing. It's just huge. So if you are anything from a realtor to an attorney to a clean out company, please get on this wonderful resource, executorium.com. Please get on there and list yourself. It's a great way to network. So I could literally get on there and network with other people here in Tampa
Yeah,
and just say, hey, you're cleaning out a home. Does that family need help? That kind of thing. So it's really a great way to build your own business too,
yeah, yeah.
as a realtor
For service providers, absolutely, as you say,
yeah,
Melanie.
yeah.
Realtors can be so very helpful, and they're
Mm,
practically not even realtors
mm,
in the sense that, um, and people won't know this,
yeah,
until they come in contact with someone that does
sure.
that work, a specialist
Mhm.
who deals with probate, has a network
Right.
of clean out people, estate salespeople,
Mhm.
liquidators, maybe a couple of probate attorneys, you know,
Sure.
and I'm going to say Rolodex. Date
That's okay. I
myself,
use that.
Rolodex. Uh, but referrals are fantastic because
Mm.
it kind of separates the wheat from the chaff.
Mhm.
You have to be aware of the relationship in any
Sure.
referral. If somebody's getting a referral fee, I think in California you're bound to talk about a referral fee, but generally
Mm.
it's important to mention those relationships. And as
Mhm.
an executor, you're a fiduciary, you should ask about those relationships. So referrals are great, and they
Yeah, they
help you
are.
get good people. Um, but just know the nature of the relationships.
Mhm. Yeah, I love it. And a lot of realtors that I work with, they're not certified probate experts like myself, and they don't know where to begin. So this is a great resource and a great tool for them to get in there and look for the people that can possibly help them.
Yeah,
I have a lot
yeah.
of agents call me and say, where do I start? And now I can send them to you, which is great. So this is
Good.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
what is a certified probate expert in your words? I hate to flip the interview on you, Melanie, but
Yeah.
certified
Yeah.
probate expert's not something that every
Yeah.
newbie executor is going to be familiar with.
And we're not experts, and it's a course that I took through Probate Mastery a couple of years ago. And basically it prepares us as agents, and I'm also a nurse, so it prepares me as a nurse and an agent to work with families while they're going through this probate process. As you and I both have said, it is a process and the checklist is large, and it informs us on how we can inform our clients. These are the steps that you need to take. We're advising by, again, we're just advising, we're guiding people through the process, and we help them close out their estate from beginning to end. So as an agent and an investor, we can give them options to sell their home. We can give them options to find their probate lawyers and things like that. So we are trained in that. And we have network referrals that we can refer people to. So it's all inclusive, and it's really needed, especially with our baby boomers aging out. So it's
Mhm.
really, it's something that you're probably going to be seeing more of, along with the certified real estate specialists. So those two together, because I'm that as well. And we really help families get through the horrible part of closing out their estate. A lot of people don't want to deal with it. A lot of realtors don't want to deal with it. They hear the word probate and their hands go up and they're shut down. They're not going to deal with it, but we do.
Yeah,
And we are
yeah.
national, and I think there's like 1,200 of us. So
Okay,
we have a
good.
beautiful network that way. So again, if someone's living here and mom's passed in Vegas, we can help them. through our
Yeah.
referral network. Yeah.
Well, as an executor, you want to have knowledgeable people on your team and
Yeah.
people that have your back
Yes, you
and people
do.
that can, whisper in your ear and say, uh, think about this, think about this, think about this, ask these questions,
Yep.
here's some resources, here's this, here's that. Because you just can't bump through things in the
Oh,
dark and try to
nope.
make your way through.
Mm.
The court or the judge or the surrogate is going to be as helpful as they can, but they have a desk load full of estates. The probate attorney is legally trained, but their familiarity with the probate experience is limited to
Yes.
to law, and then their
Mm-hmm.
proximity to their clients. So all the other stuff that's not legal is just kind of by hearsay and by
Mm-hmm.
what they've heard through their clients. So there's so
Sure.
much more beyond the probate
Mm.
and the legal and the fiduciary that falls on your shoulders. What to do with
Oh,
the
there's
photo
so
albums?
much. Oh, there's so much. There really, really is. And it's a huge undertaking.
Sure is.
So we're there to help our people. And one thing that we do that really helps the attorneys that we work with is, we have these specific information forms that we fill out, and we have all of their assets documented already, so that by the time they reach the attorney, they've got everything written down. They can just hand them a couple of sheets of paper, and it saves so much admin time for the
It's great.
attorneys. It's
Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah,
that's
really, really
fantastic.
proud and happy to be a part of this, because it's something that's a little new, but it's really taken off.
Yeah, well, we're
Really
glad to
taken
put it on the radar. I think it is
Yeah,
important just
it
to
is
make
very
sure
important.
executors know about it. Flatten the learning curve. Be aware of the resources.
It is definitely a learning curve. Do you have any like success stories where someone has come to you and said, "Man, I don't know what to do"?
No, no, I don't, because, well, I should give a very professional and promotional answer to that, but
Ah,
it's the trade-off of being open access, and executors can just come in and hit the site and take it for what it's worth, and then go on with a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of context, a little bit of uh, information,
yeah.
is that, people don't sign up. We don't have their information. I
Mm.
don't want it. Again, it's a trade-off I did. I should probably be a little more, I don't know, twisting my mustache or what have you, but I don't want to. If we get to the point where people are aware of executorium a little bit more, and that feedback comes, I'd be glad to have it, but not at the
Mm.
trade-off of being a referral company or somebody
Exactly.
that makes you sign up or have a paywall. Our revenue model is advertising, so our advertisers are in front of executors, and they're not Google AdSense ads. They're companies that do business with estates and executors. So we want to educate through our advertising. So this is our model, and we're dedicated to it. So we don't get feedback. I hope to, uh, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
would,
surprised. I'm really surprised that people don't, you know, but I'm sure you've got lots of great Google reviews. So that's the one thing, and that in itself, just doing what you've done is a success story. You are providing resources that are free, and that in itself, that's huge.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we're fairly new. We had to crawl before we walked, and
Mm-hmm.
now we're about ready to fly. Our Executorium website,
Mm-hmm.
executorium.com 2.0, is
Mm-hmm.
launching any day. And so we're taking all the lessons from our traffic experience, our
Yep.
Google search SEO experience, our user experience, and I have sheets and sheets of
Oh.
changes and additions that we
Mhm.
wanted to put in to be more agile in the space, be
Mhm.
more in place for the executor to find us, better SEO, better,
Mm.
more streamlined and simple use.
Okay.
So we are hopefully just about ready to fly, but we still consider ourselves young and hungry, and it's a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. It's only been a couple of years. I mean, every day it changes, everything
Yeah,
changes quickly. It
yeah.
really does. I got a peek at the 2.0, and I'm telling you, I really can't wait to share that with everyone, to get on there and just really see what's available to them. as we're journeying through estate administration and probate. This is such an incredible tool. And I know that you have a lot of kinks to work out, but you're there, like you are there and you did it. So
Thank you, Melanie.
congratulations on that. And
Thank
we
you.
have just a few more minutes left. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you think our audience members might want to know?
Yeah, I think the thing that's the most important, and it's probably retreading over the ground, some of the ground we've covered, but
Sure.
it's tough being an executor. You're under scrutiny, you're a fiduciary,
Yeah.
it's emotional. Executors often feel the
Mm,
weight of carrying the family and the expectations of the decedent,
mm,
and you're new to the experience. You might be like the most wonderful teacher or a really good,
yeah.
jackhammer operator, or
Mm,
a crane operator.
mhm,
But then all of a sudden you're an executor
mm,
and you're the new guy, and the
yeah.
professionals, the experts, are talking a mile a minute. And again, they're
Yep.
talking up here, and you're like,
Sure.
no, I need you to start here, maybe here.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
a reminder that to be gentle with yourself, I think, is
Hmm.
important.
Okay.
And executorium.com is a place where you can just get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and how
Sure.
how is silver sold and evaluated, to
Hmm.
what are some resources about grief, to pretty much anything across the whole
Hmm.
experience. And
Hmm.
these are the reasons we feel something like executorium.com
Yeah.
is needed.
It's a phenomenal tool, and I wish I had known about this when I was going through what I was going through with my family. We had lost my brother in December, my father in
Mm.
February, so we didn't have much time in between, and one was, had to be probate and one was done. And we ended up having to sell some silver just recently. So, and I didn't know where to go and what to do had I known, right? So these are wonderful tools, and I encourage everyone to get on there and check it out for your business, to grow your business, to help yourself get through this horrible part of closing out an estate, because it is not easy. We've all been there. And if you haven't been, you will be. We all have parents, we have
Likely.
brothers, sisters and aunts and uncles that could use our help, and then we can refer them over to you. So after all this wonderful information, where can people find you online? And this, again, people, will be shared in the description box below, all the links. So where can people find you?
Well, it's right in the name, executorium.com. So
Yeah.
that is our website.
Awesome.
We have 2 YouTube channels. If you search
Mhm.
Executorium or at Executorium, you'll find us. That's where we have our Estate Talks podcasts, and then Estate Bits is where we have just the excerpts, the kind of the key pieces, the jewels
Mhm.
that we derive from the
It's
Executorium Estate Talks.
okay.
We're on TikTok. We're on
Okay.
X, formerly known as Twitter, need
Oh,
Twitter.
yes.
We are on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
If you'd like to connect, if you're a state service
Yeah.
provider, I can be reached at gcompton at executorium.com if you have questions. It's all on, we have a contact form on our website. I invite executors and estate service
Okay.
providers alike to reach out and ask anything they like, except legal questions.
Yeah. So many questions.
Right.
So
Oh,
many
and we're on
questions.
Instagram too. Forgot about Instagram.
Gotta be on Instagram.
Got to be
Gotta
on
be.
Instagram.
You're on TikTok too. That's awesome. What a place to be.
Yes, it's
It's
interesting.
surprising how many people are on there. So, and
Uh,
how many connections can be made. So yeah, that's
yes.
a wonderful tool. Well, thank you so much for joining us, George. Just fabulous information for our families who are journeying through estate administration situations, probate situations, people like myself who could use help, and our clients that could use your help. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Again, this is the Probate Nurse Podcast. My name is Melanie. We drop a new video every single Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can find us as well, just like George, on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So looking forward to seeing you guys joining us for future podcasts. So thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, George.
Thank you.